Good morning. Denise Dryden out here on Bainbridge Island doing my weekly videos. And today I want you to just sort of hunker in because I'm going to take on two really complex topics and I'm going to weave them together. And we're going to look at how they're energetically and physically in our relationships, how everything sort of weaves and impacts one another. So the topic is snow globes and sovereignty. And so watch how I weave these together, and I may go a little bit, maybe a minute or two over, so just hang in there, okay? Because the good stuff is at the end. So have you ever noticed that you can go through your day and whatever comes your way, somebody says something, somebody's snarky to you at in the coffee shop or the grocery store or on the phone, and you're like, yeah, whatever, and it doesn't bother you, right? And then somebody can come and say something, especially someone close to you who's in relationship, and they can just say one little word and you just go like, wah, and you come unglued. Or you read something on social media, or like there's a little bit of a trigger, right? And when that trigger happens, it's like, what's the difference? Why am I calm with people who don't matter, and then when something matters, or when someone's really close to me, or when I'm triggered, boy, does it take off, right? So this has a lot to do with our beliefs and our patterns and stories and life experiences we have and how we apply them. And for those of us that are sensitives or empaths, we feel stuff coming in all the time. And so our job is to like, do I take that personally? Is this about me? What is this really about, right? And so when we know that this information can sort of come in and knock us off, what it happens is that we look to the external and we start to look for blame, which is, man, I don't really know what that was, but I have to be really vigilant to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I'm going to set up my system in my family and my life so that I have as little of those as possible. And then there's also this like control, management, blame. There's anger, there's frustration, because we're managing things as they're coming in from the outside, and we're managing them so that we don't get triggered. Does this sound familiar? So let me introduce, I don't have a snow globe. My snow globe's in storage and it's going to take way too much. So we're going to use this little jar as a snow globe. Let me introduce the snow globe. This is a sealed unit. Usually it's got like a little scene in it and water, and you can shake it and the snow moves around and all of that stuff, right? So let's just imagine that this is you in your snow globe. And this is your energy system. And so when we take this concept of the human torus system, right? This is us in our energy system and how it moves within us, and it resides in this snow globe, right? So this is us. This is our little world, right? And when someone does something that sort of pings you, like, ching, whether it's a word, an attitude, a look, an actual aggressive control factor, you're like, whoa, my snow globe has been impacted. And then we shift into this, whether it's persecutor, whether it's rescuer, whether it's victim, the old drama triangle, and we come out of our snow globe and we go over and we get in their face and we want to investigate and we want to manage and we want to counsel and we want to process and we want to make sure that they know that what they did impacted you. So you've left the snow globe and you're now over into someone else's snow globe because something they did impacted you, right? So an example, and I'm going to just drive this right home, and for those of you who are in partnerships and those of you who have teenagers especially, or adolescents, what happens is, they've been out for a while. Let's say, because we're in quarantine, it isn't for very far. They've been for a walk, they've been in another room, and you notice that when they come in the room, they're kind of like this cloud around them. They're not really looking real good. And you go, hey, how are you? And they go, fine. Now, fine. Ping, hits that snow globe of yours, right? And you're like, yeah, I don't like fine. Fine could be a brush off. I got all these words here. It's really fun. Fine is dismissive. Fine could mean I need space. And why does he need space from me? Fine is I don't want to talk right now. Fine is I've got something on my mind and I'm not paying attention to you. Oh, you're not even paying attention to me. Or fine is I'm managing something inside and my concentration is elsewhere. It doesn't really matter because your snow globe is pinging because you're telling yourself all these stories that are going on with what you just had is the experience of fine, the brush off, whatever, right? And you're experiencing your own thing. So you're having your personal experience with that word that has nothing to do with theirs, right? So a lot of times this has, when we're in our traditional family scenarios or in our partnerships, what happens is it's around behaviors. It's around things like how are we going to do the chores? How are we going to split some responsibilities up? How are we going to talk about money? How are we going to talk about expectations? That's when these things get really big because we have old hurts and we have issues that are here inside of our snow globe. Make sense? Okay, so here's the thing. When you get out of your space, out of your snow globe, and you're into theirs, you've invaded their space, you've invaded their world, and you're crossing their boundaries. Which means that I've decided that I am triggered, so I'm going to leave mine, and then I'm going to go over into yours, and I'm going to get right in your face and say, what's going on? And so what it does is it doesn't honor the concept of individual Tauruses or individual snow globes. And usually nothing good comes out of this. There's usually arguments. We get defended. We take our positions. We get hurt feelings. We say things we don't want to say. Other stories are brought into it. And we start using words like always, never. And we exaggerate and we sort of like blow it apart, right? And so it's really just this victim versus victim talking about this snow globe, which is I'm in your space and I'm trying to make you do something and you're trying to make me do something and we're out of our own individual space, right? So when I got a little ramped up right there, right? So when someone tells you that they're fine and you know they're not, the thing to do is to feel this and go, what's going on with me? Why does that little tiny word fine activate me in such a way? What are my feelings? What are my issues? What does it feel like? Do I feel dismissed or ignored? Do I feel unloved? Do I feel handled? Really go to what is it that comes up when my snow globe gets activated? And when we have these feelings, it's important to acknowledge them. Like, this is mine. So now I've got my own little work to do with my snow globe because evidently certain people and certain words can really set me off at different times. This is my work. That has nothing to do with anybody else. So when someone comes into yours or someone comes into your snow globe and starts to sort of like challenge you, push on you, and you have to hold a boundary, it's kind of like, hey, this is my stuff. You go over in yours. This is me. I'm going to deal with this by myself. This is my work. And that leads to the word of sovereignty, which sovereignty is really, really an important word right now. And if you're watching this, I want you to just hold tight and stay with this because sovereignty is one of the most powerful things we can talk about. So sovereignty is ownership of your own field, your own body, your own energy. Sovereignty is this is me and I am in charge of this and I own this and nobody can come in, right? So when we have sovereignty, it means that I am in charge of me, my snow globe, and my energy, right? So I'm going to take this much bigger. I'm going to take this to where we are right now in this lockdown and say, so right now, we've had so many attacks on our sovereignty, on our boundaries. We've been told we have to stay home. We've been told we have to stay inside. We've been shamed for wearing masks, or not wearing masks, or not wearing gloves. We've been threatened with a virus that is deathly and can kill, or that has enormous numbers of fatalities. We've been in a shutdown, we've been shut in, and we've been controlled economically, physically, and all of our snow globe, right, is like, what's going on out there, right? So this sovereignty of ours is coming from the outside and it's coming in. So what we do is there's a really simple 3-step process that I learned from Magenta Pixie that goes to the bigger global picture, but because I'm a coach who works with family dynamics, I'm going to hold both of them at the same time. So follow me on this, right? So the first thing when somebody comes in and says, and we're going to go two things. I'm fine, and we've got the teenager who's blowing you off, right? Or you've got this entire external piece coming at you that's controlling your electronics, your your electronics, your waves, in vaccinations, your ability to go back to work before you follow these guidelines, the way that you have driver's licenses. All of these things are coming in, right, that affect our sovereignty. So the first thing to do is gather information. Gather information and get your facts together. Do your research, which is, on a really simple level, that little guy over there looks like he's having a bad day. I imagine that there's some things going on. So we start to put together the pieces and we do our research. On a bigger level, we start to figure out what is it that I'm not being told and what is it that I'm being told. And then the most important thing to do is when we see that going on, let's go back to Junior and his little blow off with fine. What it means is I have to feel that and I have to integrate that, which is, yeah, he is looking a little like something's off. There's something going on with him. Or there's something going on outside, or there's something going on in a bigger global picture. We have to do our research, really get down to the nitty-gritty details of what the bad, ugly information stuff is on a global level and on a personal level. What is it that we really think is going on? And then we feel it and we integrate it and we go, yeah. And we double check our intuition and our gut and we go, this is how I feel. This is what I know. So the second thing is to make that statement of sovereignty, which is, these are my boundaries, right? So I'm going to stay in my own globe, my own snow globe, and I'm going to take a stand. So the simple example is that I'm going to stay in here and I'm going to let my partner deal with that stuff, right? I'm not going to manipulate either of them, my partner, my teenager, the world right now, because I need to just hold steady on who I am. And I will not be used by them. In other words, I'm not going to have you come in and go fine and we go into our old patterns, or I'm not going to be manipulated energetically, right? So this, like, I hold my sovereignty, I hold my boundary, and I say, no, I'm not going there. So the third thing, and this is the piece that brings it all together, is that we forgive and we are grateful for them and we love them. It's really hard because we're all part of an energetic family system, right? All of our Tauruses are individual, but they're interacting all the time with other energies. There isn't a lot of difference between us and them out there. So when Junior's having a moment and Junior's being, snarky and dismissive, or when the world is coming at you and trying to control the things that you don't want them to control, what we do is we go into, I see what's going on, I'm not going to get involved, and I forgive you for what's going on with you. I get that there's something going on out there, right? I understand that you did something or you're doing something and it's impacting me, but I forgive you for the role that you play and how it impacts me. Because again, we're dealing with our snow globe and our sovereignty, right? So we have to be able to sort of hold it out there and recognize that it's just information, it's just something, and we don't have to take it on. That's our sovereignty. So for the example is that our partner is in this personal story, or our teen, and they say, I'm fine, right? And you can say, number one, well, I understand something's going on with him. It looks like they're in a dark place. It looks like something's happening. Number two, I'm going to stay right inside my own energy field, and I'm not going to take that on, and I refuse to get involved, and I'm going to hold my sovereignty, my boundary, that this is not mine to deal with. If he wants to talk to me, he can come talk to me. If there's something going on out there, I'm going to keep it out here. Number three, I'm going to forgive this kiddo for whatever they're bringing into my space, like that little dark cloud Eeyore behavior. I'm going to forgive them for doing that because there must be something going on. And I'm grateful that he came in and he did that little fine thing to me, because now I realize how important my snow globe and my life is. So one of the pieces that I'm going to invite you to do on this bigger, larger scale, and might be a little stretch for some of you who haven't done energetic work with me, but for those who have, this is the time when we say, I am a sovereign human being. I own my body. I own my energy system. I own my cellular system. I own what comes into my body, and I own what comes out of my body. And I do not give you permission to mandate anything on me, whether it is blood tests, whether it is vaccinations, whether it is financial control, whether it is anything. I do not give you permission. My snow globe and I are a sovereign state, and I do not give you permission. So when we know that we can actually say this, right? That I'm a sovereign being and I say no. It's important to say that out loud. It's important to type that out. It's important to post it on your social media. It's important to do your own little video, but to be able to say, I'm a sovereign human being and this is where I am going to hold the line as to what's mine and what is not. So this is kind of the stuff that I've been moving into. I've been taking all of these years of family issues and all those relationship dynamics and energetic dynamics, and now thank goodness I'm able to expand them into some of the global things that are going on. And I believe that this is where my passion takes me. So I hope you like this video. There are other videos I've been doing on YouTube. You can find it on my channel. You can also get a hold of me on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com. You have a wonderful Sunday and get out there and do your sovereign statement, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.